Welcome in.
Let's go. I'm all cranked up, Mikey. Another good night at the ballpark. We got to close this down, secure this series, and get going up. But I am riding as high as I've been for a long time, man. I am ecstatic right now. So come on, Emilio. Likes for strikes, like the stream, subscribe, all that good stuff. So likes for strikes. Let's get this done. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, welcome in, everybody. Make sure you like the stream for us. Yeah, it's great to see another comeback potential victory here. I don't want to count my chickens yet, but those insurance runs in the last inning were huge.
Absolutely.
Love that, especially because it was Friedl and then McLean, two guys that have really been struggling. So to get hits there, to drive in runs there it's great. Hopefully we can build on that and build into a hot series here.
No doubt. Big spot. Right. Your Cincinnati Reds are up 6-2. Got Emilio Pagan on the mound against Caballero right now. Caballero is 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. So we've got a 1-1 count. Trying to secure another win, get us 5 games, get us back to a season high, 5 games over 500.
Yeah, for people that like to follow along with us, he just delivered his 1-2 pitch, and Hayes makes the catch with a diving catch.
Boy.
Look at that.
Back-to-back nights with a gym out there for Austin Hayes.
He looks a little goofy running around out there, but man, that was a good play.
He always seems to make it work.
Yeah.
That boy is all pumped up.
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
man.
Look at that. Expensive. Textbook, baby. He was pumped.
Boy. Nice spot, man. I love it. I absolutely love the emotion.
I know.
Man. Attaboy.
Strike
39,000. That's a good crowd.
They need their Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah,
Margaritaville night, right? Isn't it?
Right.
So everybody get that Hawaiian shirt. I have a previous year's Hawaiian shirt that I wear all the time.
Nice.
I wear it. I bring it to work, and people look at me like, I know it's Hawaiian Shirt Friday, but really? I was like,
right?
Yep.
All the way in. Attaboy. 1-1 count here on Johnny DeLuca. Are you a little bit ahead of me, Mike?
No, I think we're just delivered his hit right at Hayes.
Right at Hayes again. Okay.
Yeah. We synced up before we hopped on here. So
right on.
All right, on your feet.
Here. Grab your beers. Let's go.
Out.
Let's go. Come on, Emilio. I love having a reason to get my brooms out on a Sunday. Come on, Emilio.
Yeah. We faced a good pitcher today, too. We can talk about it, but Pepiot is good, and he looked good. And,
he really did.
We just really, third time through the lineup, really played well against him and got him out of the game, and then did our damage against their bullpen. So
absolutely.
Pretty great.
0-1 count here on Josh Lowe. Come on, Emilio. Finish this off. A little outside, 1-1. Another night where we're taking advantage of Tampa Bay Rays mistakes. That where he short-armed that ball at shortstop, man, on that Austin Hayes ground ball. It's like, man, that would really surprise me. But
I know.
Nice to be able to take advantage of it.
All right, 2 strikes here. Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't the only thing.
Right.
Because I would have hate to just, you take the wins where you can. But
absolutely, but
we didn't rest on our laurels. We went out and got some hits, got some add-on runs, and
fouled out
away.
All right, come on, Emilio. It's loud in there tonight, man, and I am digging it, man. I love it.
It is.
Digging the
is Eric down there? Is he taking in the game?
He's not down there only because his son's birthday party was today, but he is going to be at the ballpark on the 29th with us, so I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Okay. To Hayes for the last 3 outs of the game. Let's go.
There it is.
Your Cincinnati Reds pull off a 6-2 victory, taking us back to a season high, 5 games over 500, 3-game winning streak, secured the series win. Let's do a podcast on the other side of this. Mike, what do you say?
I love it. Let's do it.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the line, goes wide. The Reds are National League Central Division
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another winning edition of Chatterbox Reds, your daily home for Cincinnati Reds content all season long. I'm Corey T, joined by the one and only Mike Hart. Mike, we're going to have to keep meeting like this, brother. The Cincinnati Reds are going to keep playing like this. That's all there is to it.
I like it. I see some of
absolutely
the
love it.
comments. They want to see Nick and Trace, but they keep winning with us here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Sorry,
keep
guys.
showing up.
Yep, if we're going to win on the weekends, this is the weekend crew. Sorry about your luck. So as long as the Reds are going to win, though, I think they'll take it one way or the other. So let's give them some good content tonight on what was a 6-2 win for your Cincinnati Reds, taking us back to a season high 5 games over 500, riding a 3-game winning streak, secured the series win. It's hard not to be riding high tonight, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I mentioned last night that these games just have like a playoff feel or like a playoff push feel just because of how important they are in convincing the front office to go out and do something, to go out and buy. And that's why these wins feel so much sweeter, because it's just like, hey, we're playing for stakes. We're playing for things that actually matter. And that's really cool. So, I'm fired up. I'm ready for the sweep tomorrow. Let's go out and get that and welcome Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers into town, ready on a nice 4-game win streak. I'd love that. Let's bring that out.
Boy, that's got a really nice ring to it. And it was nice to take advantage of some of the mistakes by the Tampa Bay Rays, like we were talking about in the 9th inning. But we also talked about in the 9th inning, you were talking about the postseason feel. You couldn't tell me by the crowd noise that it wasn't a postseason feel. The crowd was into it tonight. I was absolutely feeding off of it. So kudos to the Reds fans, man. Thanks for getting out to the ballpark and cheering on our boys. And what was a really fun night, and what is going to turn into a great weekend for the Reds.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a little bit of a box score recap, and then we can get into the topics. I know we got a bunch of different things to discuss. Whenever they win, we're always excited to talk about anything and everything. So let's get into this box score recap. Obviously, this box score recap is brought to you by our fearless leader, Nick Kirby, who once again is asking, please like the stream. We appreciate every single person that's in the chat right now that's watching us. Please like the stream, subscribe, and continue to get some awesome content from Chatterbox Reds. We're just the weekend crew, but there's stuff coming to you every single day, Reds content that you need. All right, box score recap. Here we go. This started out as a pitching duel between our all-star Andrew Abbott, AAA, as Corey T likes to call him, and Ryan Pepiot, actually a native of Indiana who grew up a really big Reds fan. There was a really cool I saw a really good post about that, of just like pictures of him at Great American Ballpark. So it's pretty cool, kind of like a little homecoming for Pepiot. And boy, it looked like that. It took all the way to the top of the 6th for basically anything to happen. And that was when Yandy Diaz homered. He hit his 18th home run of the year to center field to give Tampa Bay a 1-0 lead. But in the bottom of the 6th, the Reds started to get to Ryan Pepiot as they went 3rd time through the lineup. 3rd time through, TJ Friedl walks. McLean singled on a ground ball, and Friedl to second base. This actually went to Jose Caballero, and he pitched to shortstop to try to at least get one. But because of Friedel's hustle, he beat it out, and so we had 1st and 2nd. And then Elly De La Cruz grounded softly to the pitcher, but was soft enough to get it McLean and Friedl over to 2nd and 3rd. And then Austin Hayes reached on a fielding error as he hit the ball 104 off the bat, but right at their shortstop, and he whiffed it. Their great defensive shortstop missed it, and 2 runs scored. Austin Hayes would then walk, but Stephenson would line out to end the threat, and the Reds would be up 2-1 going to the 7th. But after that, in came Graham Ashcraft, who walked or got a ground out, but then walked Caballero, and then Johnny DeLuca singled, and then after a really controversial non-strike call when he looked like he had Josh Lowe struck out, and PitchCast shows that was the case. Lowe actually singled and scored Caballero from 3rd, and they tied the game at 2. This angered Francona so much that he got ejected from his game, his 3rd time getting ejected from the game. He really showed some fire for his team, and then it seemed like Ashcraft responded and got Diaz to ground out and Morel to ground out to the pitcher. So that brings us to the bottom of the 7th, where we got Spencer Steer walked, and then Jake Fraley was called out on strikes on a pitch that looked a lot like the pitch they called a ball to Josh Lowe. Then Marte flied out, so we had 2 outs with a man on, but then TJ Friedl, he walks. And then And then in the middle of the Matt McClain at bat, they actually had to bring in Garrett Clevenger, which at the moment almost looked like a little bit of gamesmanship. I'm not saying that he wasn't hurt. It kind of looked like a cramp, and Kevin Cash was just like, all right, I'd like to take this opportunity to switch it up mid at bat. But Matt McClain, with 2 strikes, stood in there and walked, and that brought up our captain, our best player, Elly De La Cruz, or some like to call him Elly De La Clutch. And he hit a single into center field that scored both Spencer Steer and TJ Friedl and put the Reds up 4-2. Austin Hayes would then walk, and then Connor Joe unfortunately struck out swinging with the bases loaded, which brought us to the 8th, where Santillan got out of the 8th inning. But then in the bottom of the 8th inning, after a Tyler Stephenson single, we had a Santiago Espinal single that then led to a TJ Friedl single on a ground ball where Stevenson scored and Espinal went to second to make the game 5-2. Then following that, Matt McClain singled on a ground ball to the through the right side to make it 6-2. And these insurance runs were huge as we were able to go into the 9th with way more breathing room. And then 1-2-3 in the 9th with Emilio Pagan, all 3 hits to Austin Hayes, and that wrapped it up. And as Marty Brenneman likes to say, and this one belongs to the Reds.
Absolutely. What an absolutely fun night at the park. Didn't need the long ball tonight, so there wasn't much to choose from as far as a deep drive of the day is concerned. So we had to go back down to Louisville. But let's get our deep drive of the day out of the way while we're talking about it here. We had a lot to choose from actually in Louisville. We had 4 different guys go deep. Reese Hines went deep. CES went deep. Sal Stewart went deep. Who was
Hector
the other
Rodriguez?
one? Hector Rodriguez
hit his first AAA home run.
But for your DSC deep drive of the day, we're going to go with Sal Stewart's absolute monster 2-run homer. 436 feet, 112.6 miles an hour off the bat, 25-degree launch angle. Absolutely smoked one down in Louisville. But last time I checked, they were still losing. But hopefully those
10-8 there.
Yeah, hopefully those 4 home runs will get them off the schneid. But your DSC deep drive of the day is coming from the Louisville River, from the Louisville Bats. I apologize. From your boy Sal Stewart. Our deep drive of the day is sponsored by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC.
All right. Well, why don't we start off by talking about our All-Stars, which really seem to shine bright today and lead us to a win. Elly De La Cruz. Keep saying his name. Boy, it is time for I know his knock. I feel like I didn't even feel deservingly that it would be that he wasn't clutch. I think this year he's really dispelling that. Elly De La Clutch really came through here and broke it open for us, man. It was great. What are your thoughts on Elly and what he's been able to do so far this season?
Oh, my captain, as far as that's concerned. I know we're going to give him a lot of flack for some of the defensive errors that he makes, because he makes some of the easy plays look hard, but he makes some of the hardest plays look really easy. So you definitely live and die with that as far as Elly's concerned on the defensive side of the ball. But what he's doing on the offensive side, there's no arguing it. The guy's one of the best players in baseball. He's electric. When he comes to the plate, our crowd starts chanting his name in big spots, and the guy seems to come through time and time again, man. And
that was so cool. Like, you could hear it on the broadcast. I'm just chanting Elly, and then he delivers. Like that's like goosebumps type stuff. That
makes your arm hair stand up. That's exactly it. That's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, we've said it. If we've said it once, we've said it a million times on this show. We go as Elly De La Cruz goes, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of like give me those odds every time. If Elly's on my squad, I like my chances. So 44 is our superstar and played like it tonight, and we're absolutely riding his back after a 4-hit night last night. Another couple big shots tonight. 2 RBIs, I think it was. 2 RBIs tonight. So I mean, absolutely huge, man. We're gonna ride the hot hand as much as we possibly can.
I saw they flashed a stat up on the broadcast that since June 1st, so not an insignificant amount of games, he leads the majors in multi-hit games. So he is not only stringing together hit streaks with just like a single dink here or there. He's getting multiple hits in a game, which is just, I think it was like at 17, and he went 2 for 4 today, which make it 18. That's the type of stuff. That's the type of hitting and offensive prowess that can really carry a team, that you really need for a team that's not only going to make it to the playoffs, but do damage in the playoffs. Even like, I think Pepiot was cruising. I forget which inning this was, but Pepiot was cruising, not even really had that much an issue. He comes and he just throws changeup after changeup after changeup, and Elly just takes his walk. He's just like, I am not letting this dude beat me. That's just like, hey, go ahead. I think it was the fourth inning or whatever. It's like, hey, go ahead, take your base. We'll deal with the rest of the people behind you, which is crazy to see how, how much respect the league already has for this 23-year-old superstar. So,
yep. And speaking of your Elly De La Cruz, the Sadek brought it up on the broadcast, and I wrote it down. 14 at bats and his career with the bases loaded. The guy's hitting 500. 500 with the bases loaded in 14 career at bats. It doesn't get much more clutch than that. There's all kinds of Elly numbers that you can pick out and choose
2
from.
grand slams too, right?
I mean, come on, man. When you're doing that with the bases loaded, when your team absolutely needs it the most, and it's the most pressure as far as the pitcher's concerned and that sort of thing, you're trying to come through. My guy's hitting 500. I mean, it's hard to argue with his numbers, man. That's for sure.
Yeah. I always tell myself I don't want to take it for granted that we get to root for a team with a dude that's this good. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Being able to every day turn on the TV or turn on the radio and be like, man, he might do something nuts. He might do something I've never seen before. He might do something crazy every single night. It's just a joy to watch. And man, I feel lucky to be a Reds fan during the Elly De La Cruz era. That is for sure. Well, what about our other all-star, AAA all-star Andrew Abbott? He six innings pitched, only 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. He basically made 1 mistake, left one out over the plate to Yandy Diaz and for a solo home run. But 95 pitches, 6 innings. Man, this is what an ace does. Just goes out, takes the ball, and pitches another lights-out game.
Right. What can you say about Andrew Abbott that hasn't already been said a million times? We get on here and just sing his praises, and the guy deserves every single bit of it every time we come on this show. He's been at our ace when our ace is not available. So to be able to lose a Hunter Green and have his capabilities not in our lineup, and not that we're not missing a beat. We're obviously always miss Hunter Green no matter what happens. But for our number 2 starter to come up and play like he's played and be the absolute nails when we need him every 5 days, it's where would we be without Andrew Abbott? I don't even want to think about where we would be without Andrew Abbott. So he's an absolute all-star, and he deserves every single bit of accolades that he's absolutely getting. I wrote down both starting pitchers' numbers, and it was kind of odd how similar their numbers were. Both had 6 innings pitched. Both gave up 2 hits. Both had Abbott had 7 strikeouts, and Pepiot had 6 strikeouts. It was an absolute pitcher's duel tonight, man. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I'm glad we're getting out on the right side of it. Don't get me wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, all the credit in the world to Mr. Abbott, man, because he is absolutely our stud when we need him every time.
When they pulled Pepiot with 84 pitches, I was like, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We will gladly see somebody else.
Hey, ain't that the truth?
I know. So, but another great thing about it is that we saw Graham Ashcraft, Santillan, and Pagan pitch pretty well as well. It looks like we have a super chat that we'll get to. It looks like we can get to that a little bit later in the thing, but let's talk a little bit about this bullpen. I know we've talked about, hey, where should we want to buy? And almost everyone's like, yeah, bullpen arm. And I think the effectiveness of Graham Ashcraft, and he did stumble a little bit here, even though argument could be made that he made the pitches to be out of that inning with no runs. Santillan and Pagan on rest, having had the day off 2 days ago, and then the Lodolo complete game is an example of how good they can be when they get that rest. The problem is that we don't necessarily have that there. So let's talk about these guys and give them their flowers. Tony Santillan gave up a hit but struck out 3. Pagan gave up 3 flyouts to Austin Hayes. One of them was a very good play that we saw, but he only 11 pitches. And then Ashcraft, while he walked Caballero, I think he made the pitches to get out of it, right? He made that pitch to strike out Josh Lowe and just didn't get the call, and then unfortunately wasn't able to rebound and gave up the run. But the Reds picked him up. So what were your thoughts on the bullpen and what you've seen and where you think it might be able to add and to help this team or this bullpen?
I like where our bullpen's at. We're going to need some help to kind of keep Santillan fresh, to keep him coming out of the bullpen and give him that rest like you were talking about. Graham Ashcraft obviously made the pitch. It was there, but Tito getting rung up right there.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Compadre Eric, he was in the chat talking about it. Tito getting rung up there lit a fire under those boys, and he called this the biggest win of the year. And it kind of feels like it, to be honest with you. Tito going out there and getting rung up. There was definitely something to that. He had a little bit behind it, and it kind of fired up our guys a little bit and got them going. And Graham Ashcraft absolutely made that pitch. You turn around the next inning, and Jake Fraley gets rung up on the exact same pitch, and it's like it's frustrating on that end of it, because for him to come out and just give up that dink to left field, it's like, of course. But those guys deserve all the flowers in the world. They've done their jobs when we need them to. But we are going to have to do ourselves a favor as an organization and go get them a little bit of help, because if we're not going to be able to keep those guys fresh, we're going to burn out down the back end, because we're going to need those three. We're going to need those three guys more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think, it's back to that bad call. It's unfortunate because I think the umpire had done a pretty good job throughout the game. I know actually Abbott, I think, got a very favorable call, maybe two favorable calls, and a strikeout of DeLuca earlier in the game. Yeah. But for the most part, it felt like he had a pretty established strike zone. Like, it's not one of those where you're like, man, this guy's been all over the place. So that was why it was pretty it was unfortunate to see. Luckily, it didn't come back to bite us, but man, that was an unfortunate spot. I do like Tito showing the fire. There's one thing, I don't know. We talk about David Bell and how he gave the most boring and worst press conferences that you could ever have. But I did kind of like that he was fiery. He'd get out there. He was the old curmudgeon that was not afraid to get tossed and argue with the umpire. So I did like that aspect of it. And Tito, picks his spots a little bit better, it seems, but he had I think he probably said something. He wasn't trying to get rung, but then when it was kind of a short hook, they said it was a rookie umpire, his first year in the big leagues. Could you kind of was just like, all right, you're out of here. It's like, oh, you're gonna throw me out? All right, now, well, you're gonna get an earful now.
Yeah, no doubt. Could you imagine being that rookie umpire looking over your shoulder and Terry Francona's coming at you?
Yeah, he's just like,
I wouldn't want to be in that guy's shoes. Like, woo, man.
Yeah, the guy who the Hall of Famer who's gonna you're gonna argue balls and strikes with this guy. So it looked like he was saying too, he was like, man, I got plenty of proof. I just looked at it. You were way off. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that it's unfortunate, but I'm glad though that the team showed heart too, because sometimes you're able to, you come out here to ring them up to get everyone riled up, but then nothing happens. Right. But Ashcraft responded. He got 2 ground outs up the middle. He got 2 weak hit ground outs up the middle, and then the offense came alive. So it's one of those things where it's like, when you make it count, you better make it count. And this Reds, it felt like the Reds earlier in this year had no fight. The moment they got one little trip up, punch in the mouth, they just were, that was it. Right. And now it's like, okay, we now, I think since maybe June, we have the most comeback wins in baseball, which is just so refreshing. Just like, you never feel like I would have gone into the game 2-1 or even 1-0 and be like, here it is. Here we go again. 1-0. It's like, I can't believe we got this. But then, we go and we're able to come back. We're able to show fight. And that's super cool.
Oh, you can even see it in the dugout when they panned over. Elly had blooped that one in. They scored the 2 runs there at the end. You could see Nick Martinez and Graham Ashcraft, a pitcher that's not pitching today, a guy that just came off the mound. They're both at the top of the dugout, cheering their guy on, all cranked up. It's from the fans to our lineup to our managers. We've got a lot of fight in us right now, man, and I love it. I absolutely love it. We're getting a message from the boss. Like the stream, subscribe.
That's right.
There's also more wins.
That's right. There's also been the chat has let me know that Sal Stewart has homered again. And this one 422, 106 off the bat.
Go ahead,
Solo home run. It's now 11-9 Iowa Cubs over the Bats. So I like you called them the River Bats. I haven't heard them being called the River Bats in a long time.
That was a slip up, man. I'm like, oh man, I don't know where that even came from.
I remember going and seeing the River Bats when it was Corky Miller down there when I was a kid.
There's a name drop right there. I love me some Corky now.
Yeah. Sal Stewart bouncing back from his, I think he went 0 for 4 last night with a nice little 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, 4 RBI. That'll play.
That'll get it done, buddy. That'll
Yeah.
get her done, no doubt. Moving on to the next man. You put an interesting one here in the chat or in the Google Doc. Marte playing center field with a question mark. Where'd that come from?
Well, so what Chatterbox itself released some video that was taken of Marte shagging and working with Colin Cowgill in center field. And who knows, maybe he's just getting outfield work and it just happened to be in center field. But I think that raised some eyebrows with me. It's like, well, okay, you would think maybe Friedl's on the block, or maybe, Friedl's on the block. But if that's the case, then maybe you just move Benson over to center. And then that made me think maybe Benson's the one that's on the block, and having Friedl being able to play not only right, but center makes me think that, maybe there have been some talks that including Benson in the trade block. So I don't know what your thoughts on that. I thought for sure that of the two, Fraley, Benson, that Fraley would be the one that'd be more likely to be traded. But maybe this is nothing, or maybe it's something. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I'm not against it. He's got the athleticism, and honestly, watching him sail that throw up the line today, and Spencer Steer had to save his butt with a tag again. It's like, yeah, actually, when you start seeing throws like that, I'm not sure if my guy's got the yips. I don't want to put that on him quite yet, but it seems like every time he fields a ground ball, I hold my breath. You know what I mean? So if that's what's going to open up some of his athleticism, be able to open up his arm a little bit, I absolutely love having his stick in the lineup. So I'm not against it. That's an interesting point with maybe TJ being on the chopping block.
Actually, David Bloom actually just brought up a really good point.
Okay.
They highlighted this in the broadcast. Friedl's wife is due any day now. So maybe Benson, your backup center fielder, is on the block, and if they end up trading Benson, they need somebody to play center when Friedl is gone on paternity leave. So
good point.
Okay, that to me that makes a lot more sense. It feels like if you're going to buy, or at least go for it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I see you, Reds batter up with your super chat. We'll get to that, but if we're gonna buy, I can't imagine that that Friedl is going anywhere. From what he's done, and hopefully getting hot now too from the slump that he was in. So I like that idea a lot better. I think it could make sense, but if we're going to be aggressive for a middle of the order bat, like Rosenthal said, it's like, I can't imagine they move Friedl as well, even though it might be Friedl might be at his peak value, but man, this team is one game out of a playoff. I think a half game out of the playoff spot right now.
Right. So let me ask you this, Mike. What do you think it's going to take? What do you think it's going to take for us to package together to go get that big at bat in the middle of the lineup? I don't know if you guys saw the Ken Rosenthal report, but they said that the Reds were going to be aggressive buyers and looking for a middle of the bat lineup and bullpen help. Is it going to take? Are we going to have to trade away some of our big league talent, or do you think it's going to take more of a prospect perspective? What do you think it's going to take to get to where we're wanting to get to?
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, we got to acknowledge our friend batter up with the super chat 1999 bomb. He says sell with a bunch of broken hearts. So I think we all see where he stands on this. It's hard to say after a couple games. I've changed my mind, but I think I have. It was after we lose the National Series. It's just like, I think let's sell here, but now it's like, okay, now what are we doing? We're half game, foot on the gas, let's go. I guess we can debate whether or not we should sell. Would it be better for the overall Reds to try to sell here a little bit? Yeah, I think it probably would be, but it would not behoove, I don't think, this year's Reds. And I think that I've got enough juice with this year's Reds to say, let's go. Let's do this. I don't know. When they say a middle of the order bat, I I don't know. I think that, so balancing some of the statements that we've heard, right? So we heard Brad Meter say we're not going to trade big top prospects. Like that's something he has said, right? But then they say, hey, we're in on Eugenio Suarez. Hey, we're looking to be aggressive. We're looking for bullpen arms, and we're looking for a middle of the order bat. Like those don't grow on trees. Those aren't things that are available for your 20th ranked prospect, unfortunately. So
and that's what makes me think like maybe there is a TJ or a Benson or something like that.
Yeah.
Gonna sweeten the deal. As much as it's gonna hurt my heart, I'm a diehard, love my 26 roster guys, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a heartbreaker one way or the other. But I think if we're going to look for a big bat like that, it's gonna take a little bit more than the prospect value. So I kind of agree with there. Yeah.
And depending on who you bring in, there may be people expendable on the roster as well. So you bring in a big right-handed right fielder, right? That now at one of Fraley and Benson are expendable. So maybe you send one of them out in that trade or in a trade subsequent to that. Same thing if we say you bring in Suarez, who plays third base. Now, you can Marte's taking on this outfield. I'd say maybe even Fraley and Benson are still expendable right here. Say you bring in a first baseman, somebody who's going to play predominantly first base, then maybe a Spencer Steer is available for, a big league trade or something like that. Or maybe you bring in a bullpen arm where you somebody like a Taylor Rogers, who we all know has not looked good, but still has a 2-something ERA. And maybe if Nick Krall can pull the wool over somebody's eyes, they can take a left-handed reliever for us. So I think there is some flexibility with people going out on the big league club, and then with people that are obviously raking in AAA, that to either fill holes or, maybe whoever you bring in to fill a hole. So we'll see. That's kind of my sentiment about it is I expect them to, if they're going to be that aggressive, that it's going to be potentially major league people, and then other people that aren't prospects anymore, right? CES and Hines, right? Those guys aren't on our top prospect list, but maybe those are guys that we've deemed expendable and somebody else wants to take a chance on, something like that. Maybe those are people that would be, you hate to see it, right? Because it feels like, it feels hard to say that those two have been given a fair enough chance,
a legitimate chance.
Yeah. I know Hines came up and then has struggled, but then his last time up, man, he was really, he played so sparingly, and then he only played against like incredible left-handed pitchers, like what's this Crochet, and it's just like people. It's just like poor guy. I felt like didn't have the greatest, chance up here, but that's the big leagues, and I think what we're also seeing with CES and Hines, and then now Sal Stewart and Hector Rodriguez coming up and hitting great as well. It's just the gap between AAA and the majors, I think, has gotten even larger. I heard Jeff Passan, who's the ESPN baseball correspondent, talk about it. He said it's like AAA, and then the majors is like 8A. Like there's that big of, so instead of, if it would be 4A would be above AAA, like the gap is so big between AAA. Not only is there, it's just, there just isn't as much, so when people go down there, like Reese, and we've seen it, right? Reese Hines goes down there and just absolutely mashes, just hitting home run about every day. He still strikes out, I think, about 50% of the time in AAA, but he's able to, mash the ball. And then he comes up here and the pitching's just like, this dude strikes out on anything that is not straight. Sorry, you're just going to only see sliders. Same thing with Encarnacion Strand. It's like, oh, you swing at any pitch, even if it's, 4 inches off the strike zone. Here you go. Boom. I'm just like, I'm not throwing you the major leagues can get people like that out. They got people that are going to be able to do that. So maybe all that being said, maybe Hines or CES is somebody that gets involved in one of those trades, and their stock with how they're hitting in AAA could be rising as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a fair point. As far as bringing in Hines and CES, I hate to give up on them because they are so young, and like you say, we haven't necessarily put them in the best of positions to succeed. But like tonight, when Connor Joe comes up with the bases loaded, and we don't have a more solid at bat to come off. If CES and Reese Hines aren't going to be a better play than Connor Joe in that position, I'm almost to the point where let's go see what we can get out of them to start bringing a back end bullpen. I don't want to give up on our guys that quick, but God, I just give me somebody besides Connor Joe with the bases loaded in that situation. I'm absolutely frustrated with it. So whatever we've got to do to get out of that, but in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking if Reese Hines and CES can't outplay Connor Joe to be the bat in that situation, what are we really doing here? But like you say, have we given them a fair shake? We really haven't. So I'm kind of interested to see how those top prospects play into this, adding to the major league lineup.
Yeah, and I'm with you. There's an aspect to what we would be asking from those guys as well. Like we'd be asking these young guys to sit on the bench and be cold, and when they get their opportunity against a lefty, come up and hit, right? And that is obviously not easy to do, right? And but if you're going to be a platoon bat, that's what we asked Benson and Fraley to do, and ultimately I think they have kind of grown into, and even Lux grown into that, and have been able to contribute off the bench against a righty for their single at bat a game, right? And so it makes sense to me that when given regular playing time, and this may be part of it, Hines can kind of get into a groove, be okay with maybe not having the greatest at bat every once in a while because he's going to get more. But instead, we bring him up here and we say, hey, you got to sit on the bench. You maybe take some swings in the cage, but now we need you bases loaded against the lefty, go up there and hit. That's hard to do. And so
that's a fantastic point.
While I think that I would have loved to see Hines organically come up against a lefty in that spot. Maybe he'd have been 0 for 3, see him in that spot. I think he could have really done some damage. I still understand the trepidation between the Reds in general, just putting a young guy in a spot where it's just like your one role is to come in, in a very important spot to try to hit. And maybe one of those two can find that. CES had the grand slam in Boston, right? When they had to pitch strikes because the bases were loaded, he brought one in there and CES absolutely crushed it. Now, do I like their upside to run into one over Connor Joe? Absolutely. And to be honest, with all the language that's coming out, I think Connor Joe's days in Cincinnati, maybe not. I don't think they DFA him because he still has options. He probably gets sent down unless they need a roster spot, but I think Connor Joe is going back down. So, I'm not too, I just, to me, that seems like a very obvious choice that's going to happen. But, part of why you would need to go do that is because it takes some experience. It takes some time in the big leagues to be able to come off the bench cold and hit in situations like that. And I'd love for them to be able to do that, but it's understandable that they haven't been able to.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. Bringing them up and sitting them on the bench and just having them spot hit every once in a while. What's that really doing for a Reese Hines or a CES's career? I would much rather have them in AAA, getting the at-bats and getting the playing time, like you say. That is an excellent point, but it's kind of it's a rock and a hard place there because as a fan, you want a big bopper, somebody that's actually got a chance to put one in the seats like Nick and Trace always talk about.
Yeah.
And so it's frustrating from a fan's perspective, but when you sit back and look at it, as a overall perspective, it's like, yeah, you're probably right, giving those guys the at bats. But I just saw somebody bring it up in the chat, not wanting to give up on our guys too early because the last thing you want to see is to end up in somebody else's program and it absolutely tears it up, and then we're going, oh shoot.
I know. I saw somebody compare him to Edwin Encarnacion. Remember, he came up, was tough defensively at third base, and we ended up trading him away, and then he ended up having a pretty good career.
Absolutely.
So I forget who we traded him for, but maybe to Toronto. That might have been in the Scott Rowland deal, actually. So, nobody was really crying about bringing Scott Rowland in here, obviously, but it is somebody that we did give up on and then went on to have a pretty good career. So let's hope that I really hope CES does figure it out. I think that his power is pretty prodigious. And if he can I think he swings and misses less in the zone. Like Reese Hines, unfortunately, he strikes out a bunch and he just swings and misses a lot in the zone too. To me, it feels easier to correct just not swinging at bad pitches than, hey, you need to make contact more, in the zone and things like that. So I'm not sure. I I'd say I'm probably higher still on CES than I am on Rhys Hines. Just, but, if they went on to both of them went on to have good MLB careers, I would not be surprised.
Right.
If they went on to be quad A guys and never really kick it in the majors, a Nick Senzel type, I could definitely see it. I think I'm more likely than not that they would be major league players, but who knows? Baseball's a cruel game. We saw today, Taylor Wall is one of the best defensive shortstops that they have out there, goes and boots a routine ball that gives the Red the tie back. So it's like, baseball's a cruel game sometimes, and you don't get the bounces. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
We'll see what ends up happening. Obviously you as a fan too, you get attached to your guys too.
Right.
Like I remember that run where Rhys Hines came up after the All-Star break and just like it was a beach ball. That's like it's like somebody that, that I remember that so fondly.
Absolutely.
But it's, Aristides Aquino. Remember when he did that?
I was getting ready to say the same thing.
And then everyone was like, no, it's in there. No, don't hold on to him. And then turns out it was a flash in the pan. For the record, I do not think Rhys Hines is Aristides Aquino. I think he is. No. I think he's obviously younger and has still the opportunity to have a better career than Aquino. But I think that's an example where it's just like one huge hot streak can just carry you in the hearts of your Reds fans for a long, long time. So
absolutely,
we'll see. I don't know how you feel about all that, but I've been talking a while and let you chime in on how these quad A guys should be handled.
You're making excellent points. I'm not 100% sure. I'm glad I'm like we said last night, I'm glad I'm not the guy that has to make the decisions, because the hindsight that comes with getting rid of some of your guys and then see them explode. But if that's what we have to do to get our middle of the bat lineup now to make our playoff push, it is what it is. So I don't have strong feelings as far one way or the other. It's hard for me I don't really know exactly what's out there for us to go get, but I'm all for whatever we got to do to make this team better. And I feel like there's going to be a couple heartbreakers here where you're like, oh, we got rid of our guy. But if that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. So we always do want to remind you, if you are feeling sad about some of our guys leaving, if they do end up getting traded away to try to make this team better, you can always call or text 988. 988 is a suicide crisis hotline. It's the place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. 988 is a 100% completely confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. But yeah, speaking of not being okay, Mike, you put in the doc that there was a trade that you felt like the Reds could have used that kind of got away from us. You want to get into that?
Sure. Just I guess as we get into these trades, we'll talk a little bit more about this. But it was reported that Randall Grichuk, actually 33-year-old outfielder for the Diamondbacks, was traded to the Kansas City Royals, which is wild that the Royals would be buying. I had the playoff odds up. Currently going into tonight's game, the Reds had a 29% playoff percentage, according to Baseball Reference, and the Kansas City Royals had a 6% postseason odds for that. So this is wild because Randall Grichuk, his calling card is he hits left-handed pitching. This year he's got a 102 WRC plus against left-handed pitching, and for his career he's got a 120 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. And that's like the type of person that it's like, oh yeah, I think we could probably use it. He's 33. He's on an expiring contract. I think they gave up this dude named Andrew Hoffman, who is not a prospect on their list and is a AAA reliever, right? So that's like us giving up Yasser Zulueta or something like that. It's somebody who is a AAA guy that maybe he's gone up and down a few times. And it's hard to look at that and be like, man, Reds couldn't have done better than that. Reds couldn't have come in here. I'll tell you what, I would have sure liked Randall Grichuk taking that at bat over Connor Joe. Connor Joe, who career has a 102, so barely above average against left-handed pitching. You want to wager a guess what his WRC plus is in 2025, year of our Lord, what his WRC plus is against left-handed pitching? So against the hand that he's supposed to do well, that we see him pinch hitting for. Will you wager a guess for me? Wager a guess.
Oh, I'll go 112.
Remember, 100 is average.
Yeah.
So anything over 100 is better than average.
Well, I was
And
just trying
anything
to
below-
blow it out of the water, I guess.
It is 27.
Holy
27 WRC plus. Now, it is not the hugest sample size, right? It's a platoon guy, but 27. So what is that? That's 73% worse than average against lefties. And that's the guy we ran out there with the bases loaded against the lefty to try to get hit. So what my take on Randall Grichuk, could the Reds have been in on him? Sure. Could the Reds have done better than Andrew Hoffman? Yeah. But I think the reason that they weren't was because I think they have their eyes set on somebody better. A better right-handed, like 102 WRC plus, obviously better than 27, but a 33-year-old on a expiring contract, to me, that barely moves the needle for me. It feels like it because it'd be an upgrade from Connor Joe, but like to me, that doesn't really move the needle for me. And I think the Reds maybe are in on somebody even better. Hopefully. Cross my fingers. If they don't end up getting a right-handed bat, I'll be angry that they weren't in on Randall Grichuk. But I feel like, we talked about the Rosenthal article in The Athletic that said that the Reds, we can pull that up specifically. Do you have the exact language? I want to quote it exactly to show just like how, of Rosenthal.
I don't have it pulled up. Give me a second.
I got it right here. It is, he says, the Cincinnati Reds should be aggressive buyers and are targeting a middle of the order bat and bullpen help. So, it's hard to think that you're not buying middle of the order right-handed bat there that maybe would be better than Randall Grichuk if that's what you're really going to go for. So, hopefully we aren't sitting here at the end of the day. We're sitting here at Smoke Justice on the 29th. I guess that won't the trade deadline won't have happened yet, but I hope that we'll be able to get a right-handed bat that's better than Randall Grichuk. And that will be, we won't look back on this and say, how did we miss out on something like this?
Yeah, but I think you're right though. I think we're looking to make a bigger splash. Like you say, it's not going to move the needle much bringing in a Grichuk, and how excited are we really going to be? But by the same token, is it an upgrade from what we have? Absolutely, it's an upgrade of what we had. I just don't. I'm not really sure 100% where I was going with that, to be completely honest with you. But
yeah,
I'm hoping we're in the Eugenio. I'm kind of leaning towards the Eugenio Suarez. I kind of got that feeling like all of a sudden once they come out with that report, like we're going to make a big splash. It almost feels like we're kind of in those talks again. But then I saw where you said the Cubs are going in pretty hard.
It was reported today that apparently the Cubs were being pretty aggressive in trying to get Suarez as well. Which, boy, to me, that's worst case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, how many? I'm just like thinking back to the years where Gino just absolutely mashed in Wrigley Field. He's going to go there and he's going to hit a dagger home run against the Reds at Wrigley. And we're all going to be crying because God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, me too. And it's making it tougher for the Reds because as far as what we can offer, and that's what I'm not sure we have as much upside as what the Cubs are going to be able to offer. So it kind of that changes the game too, is even just from trying to make a deal perspective.
I think it's even less of what they have to offer and what they're willing to offer. I think the Cubs are well in buyer's range, right? They have 5 games up from a playoff spot still, and very close to even being getting back to the division. So it's one of those where it makes a lot of sense for them that they would be buyers for all of that. And so because of that, they'd be willing to go more all in. You got to think about, they have Kyle Tucker, and if they don't extend him, they're basically just getting a draft pick out of him if they don't sign him. So this is kind of like they made their all in push when they traded for Kyle Tucker. So I wonder, I just feel like they're probably more likely to be aggressive, which kind of sucks. I hope that if the Reds don't get him, then it's like go back to the Mariners or even go to the Phillies or something like that. Somewhere that we're not going to have to be tormented by him. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on seeing Suarez in that Cub blue. Ugh.
God, honestly, I just threw up in my mouth as soon as you said that. So let's talk about something else. I ain't gonna lie to you. Thinking about Eugenio Suarez in a Cubs jersey just absolutely makes me sick. That left side of the infield will be real tough with Dansby Swanson over there already. So, but let's get back to something a little bit more positive. And as far as your Cincinnati Reds are concerned, we got a big matchup coming tomorrow, going for the sweep against the Tampa Bay Rays, going for a 4-game winning streak, going to get 6 above 500 for the first time this season. So got a really good, really big game coming tomorrow. Who's on the mound tomorrow?
Brady Singer.
We got Brady Singer and Shane. Give me his last name. Is it
Boz?
Okay. I knew I was going to screw that one up. But right-handed pitcher Shane Boz on the mound tomorrow against Brady Singer. Boz is struggling a little bit in July. He is 0 for 3 with a 5.79 ERA in July, but he is 8-6 with a 4.66 ERA overall. Did have a rough one in his last start. He allowed 8 runs in 4 innings against the lowly White Sox. So hopefully we can.
Hey, that White Sox offense just dropped 12 on the Cubs last night. So
well, that's true too. I guess I better put a little bit of respect on that name when I say that out loud. But so he had a little bit of a rough outing the last time. Hopefully the Reds can continue to do that. The Reds have seen him a couple times before. Saw him once in 2024. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. So he did have a pretty good outing the last time he saw the Reds. Did see him early in his career in 22. He only went 2.1, gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs, and 3 home runs. So hopefully that's more of the Shane Boz that we get tomorrow. But current Reds versus Boz, Tyler Stephenson has the most success. He's 3 for 4. And Jose Trevino is 1 for 2. But outside of that, we've got a whole list of guys that are 0 for. We've got Spencer Steer and Elly are 0 for 3. Benson, Fraley, Friedl, Hayes, and Marte all 0 for 2 against Boz. So hopefully we can turn that around a little bit and get this lineup, get a couple hits against them, and put some pressure on them, and get a sweep and keep this thing rolling. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, let's sweep the Rays. Let's do this. Let's just sweep them right out of town. How about we do that?
I love it.
Oh man, get the brooms, get the Jim Day gif going where he's sweeping right across the old Fox Sports Ohio desk. Let's get it.
I love it. I absolutely
man, we need it. I would, man, because where they are now, I think it feels pretty safe to say they're not going to make any of those big splash trades where they gave up somebody like a Lodolo or they gave up somebody like a Tyler Stephenson. I feel it feels pretty safe to say now that is not going to be the case. Now, maybe I'll be eating my words, but it seems like, hey, this team has put themselves in a position where it's like Lodolo is going to need to be good to make us to the postseason this year, and I can't see them getting rid of Lodolo, and that's great. You know, even Austin Hayes, right, and expiring now. Nick Martinez, I don't know, still feel a little bit on the fence about whether or not he'll be dealt or not. But we'll see. Hopefully, there is a if we just keep winning, then we're just going to see people added. So it feels like we're out of the zone where we're going to see a big MLB contributor out of here. Now, we may see a prospect or somebody like we talked about, a quad A guy that's down in AAA go. But, yeah, I really can't see them send somebody big from our, Pagan, Lodolo, Austin Hayes, those Friedl, those guys. There's no way those guys are getting traded now. The Reds have won too much to see those guys get broken up. And so if we're going to go buy big, we're going to have to buy big with either, other fringe major leaguers or prospects. So we'll see what we end up getting. We'll see what we end up doing. I'm just excited that we get to be here. Last year at this time, we were just like, oh, it's over. What are we going to do? We're wasting a great Elly season. Matt McClain's hurt again. What are we going to do? And this year, man, we're ready. We're ready to make the push. I'm excited. We mentioned earlier that Smoke Justice, July 29th, Tuesday at 4:30. We will both be there at Smoke
Absolutely.
Justice to say hi. The first 50 people there will get a Chatterbox t-shirt. So they're a new sponsor of ours. So please come and pack it out. Eat some good smoked meats, drink some smooth bourbon, and enjoy the time where I'll get to shake your hand. We were talking yesterday. It's like I'll get to meet all these people, get to you'll get to see how tall or short we all are.
Right.
All you do is you see us behind the camera, and we're, we could be 6'4" or we could be 5'5". Who knows?
Never know. Yeah.
So you'll get to size us up and shake our hands, and we'll get to talk to you guys in person, which I'm excited to do. I'm excited to hopefully meet a bunch of you guys while we're out there. And then obviously I've actually never met Nick Kirby or Trace in person either. So, it'll be good to see them and then go enjoy a ball game. We checked Ohtani is actually pitching on Monday, so we're not going to see that, but we'll get to see his bat in the lineup at least. And it'll be a good one. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll be on let's see if we sweep so we'll be on 5 game. So hopefully we'll be on a 5-game winning streak going into Tuesday, and we will be able to come and, enjoy a game at the ballpark. I'm excited. Corey, how about you?
Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait to get to Smoke Justice, man. That's going to be a good night at the ballpark. I'm like you say, I haven't had a chance to shake too many hands with a lot of these guys, so I'm looking forward to see how tall everybody is, and look forward to meeting some of the families and that sort of stuff. And I really can't wait to meet some of our guys from the chat, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like we've got one of the best chats in the game as far as that's concerned. So it'll be nice to shake hands with some of these people and actually put faces with some of the names and that sort of thing. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Eric actually is going to be with me that weekend too. So he's really excited about getting down to the ballpark. That's actually my nephew's birthday is the 29th. So he'll be he's taking the family down to the ballpark. Happy birthday to my 4-year-old nephew, Brooks. He'll be really excited to be called out on Chatterbox Reds tomorrow morning. So looking forward to getting down there to the ballpark, seeing you guys, seeing the family, and it's going to be a good night. Please come out to Smoke Justice. What is it, 4:30 to 6:30?
4:30 to 6:30, and then we're walking over to Great American. So
yes, sir.
Should be good. I'm expecting. So Nick is driving down that morning. I'm expecting a Reds make a trade, and he has to do like an emergency podcast from his phone from the side of I-71.
71.
Like, I can't believe we got Eugenio Suarez. Here we go. I'm ready. Nick will do it. He'll get the content up there. He'll stop and at least make the graphic and make sure that everything gets up there for us. So
absolutely. I don't put it past him for a second.
Yeah. Make sure you like the stream and subscribe to Chatterbox. We just are here on the weekends, but those guys, that's their livelihood. So please do that. Support Chatterbox. These guys do so much work to bring just such incredible Reds coverage that you really just don't get anywhere else. Nobody else is going live every single game, and you get to ride the highs and lows of the roller coaster with us. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. Is where we have been going. So man, it's great to be able to experience this with you guys, and just ready to go out and get a win tomorrow. Get the sweep. Sweep.
I absolutely love it. Let's get this sweep and get on a roll and make this push to the playoffs, man. It's crazy to kind of say that out loud after the All-Star break, after what was last season, but here we are, man, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, they talk about how the Reds schedule was the hardest going into the rest of the year, and what they didn't know is that that's actually good for the Reds. The Reds play better against better teams.
Absolutely.
We don't have to play the Marlins again. We don't have to play the Nationals again. Thank goodness.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? We seem to buck up when the competition's at its best. So
I know.
Bring it on, boys. Let's go.
All right.
Oh, shoot. I love it. But any last words, Mike?
Nope. Just to go Reds for me.
Absolutely. As always, go Reds.